Have you noticed your legs don't feel the same anymore? Not pain, just heavy, slower, cold at night when they used to feel warm. You stand up, take a few steps, and your body hesitates before it follows. That pause matters more than you think. Because that pause isn't weakness, it isn't laziness, and it isn't just getting older. It's circulation changing quietly in your legs, day by day, while no one explains what's actually happening. Poor blood flow doesn't just make walking uncomfortable, it weakens muscles, it starves nerves, it raises fall risk, and when circulation drops far enough, confidence drops with it. People move less, sit more, and slowly shrink their world without noticing. Most advice sounds simple. Walk more, stretch more, elevate your legs, take another pill. And maybe that helps a little. But circulation doesn't fail from lack of effort. It fails because blood vessels lose the ability to open when your body needs them to. Here's the part almost no one tells you. That loss isn't permanent. And in many cases, it can respond faster than you expect. In this video, I'm going to show you one simple drink that can increase blood flow in your legs within hours, not weeks. Not because of magic, but because of basic biology your body still remembers how to use. But there's a catch. Many people are already drinking healthy things and still getting worse. Wrong order, wrong timing, wrong expectations. So today, I'm ranking 10 common drinks, from worst to best, for leg circulation, based on real physiology, not trends. Some barely work, a few help a lot, and one changes everything. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your legs feel different, why most advice fails after 60, and what you can do starting tomorrow morning to change direction. Number 10. Plain water. Most people believe water is the answer. Drink more water. Improve circulation. It sounds logical, and hydration does matter. When you're dehydrated, blood thickens, flow slows, and everything feels worse. So yes, water is necessary. But here's what no one explains clearly. Plain water doesn't fix leg circulation after 60. What water really does is basic maintenance. It keeps blood from becoming too thick and helps the heart pump without extra strain. But it doesn't send signals to blood vessels to open. It doesn't increase nitric oxide. And it doesn't restore flexibility to stiff arteries. In other words, it helps prevent decline, but it doesn't reverse it. This is where many people get stuck. They drink more water, wait for warmer legs or steadier steps, and nothing changes. Then they assume their circulation problem is permanent. It isn't. They're just relying on the wrong tool for the job. There's another issue few people consider. Drinking large amounts of water without balance can dilute key electrolytes your blood vessels rely on to function properly. More water doesn't mean better circulation. It simply keeps the system neutral. Water helps when dehydration is the main problem. But for most people after 60, dehydration isn't the root issue. Vessel stiffness and low nitric oxide are. And water doesn't address either one. That's why plain water sits at the bottom of this list. You need it. You shouldn't avoid it. But you shouldn't expect it to change how your legs feel. It's the foundation, not the solution. And coming up next is a drink many people swear by for circulation. It sounds promising. It feels right. But when you look closer, it barely moves the needle. Number 9. Green tea. Green tea gets a lot of praise, and some of it is deserved. It's linked to heart health, antioxidants, and better metabolism. So naturally, people assume it must be great for circulation too, especially for the legs. That assumption makes sense. But when you look at how it actually works in the body, the picture changes. This drink supports blood vessels indirectly. The compounds inside it can improve vessel health over time. Slowly. They help the lining of the artery function a little better, but they don't send a strong signal for vessels to open right now. They also don't significantly increase nitric oxide when your legs need it most. That's the problem. Leg circulation after 60 isn't just about long-term maintenance. It's about restoring flow in vessels that have already become stiff. This isn't built for that. Its effects are mild, gradual, and easy to miss if you're already dealing with cold feet or heavy legs. There's also a timing issue most people don't realize. It contains caffeine. In some people, especially later in life, caffeine can cause blood vessels to tighten slightly. Not enough to feel like a clear problem, but enough to cancel out much of the small benefit. Preparation matters too. Brewing it with boiling water can destroy a significant portion of the helpful compounds before you even drink it. So an already modest effect becomes even smaller. It isn't harmful. It isn't useless. It's just not designed to correct leg circulation once nitric oxide levels have dropped. It works better as long-term support, not as a corrective tool. That's why it sits near the bottom of this list. Helpful for overall health, but too weak and too slow to make a real difference where circulation struggles most. And coming up next is a drink that feels stronger at first glance, but comes with its own hidden trade-offs. Number 8. Tart cherry juice. Tart cherry juice sounds like a smart upgrade. It's natural. It's often recommended for inflammation. And many people notice less stiffness or soreness when they use it consistently. Because of that, it's easy to assume it should help circulation too, especially in the legs. What it actually does is reduce inflammation inside blood vessel walls. When inflammation comes down, vessels can become slightly more flexible, allowing blood to move a bit more freely. On paper, that sounds helpful. And in certain situations, it can be. The limitation is what it doesn't do. It doesn't directly raise nitric oxide. It doesn't send a clear signal telling blood vessels to open. All it really does is lower resistance a little. That means the effect is modest and slow. For legs where circulation is already compromised, that usually isn't enough to create noticeable change. There's another factor that matters more after 60. Sugar. A single glass can contain a surprisingly high amount of natural sugar. That sugar raises insulin, and insulin can temporarily tighten blood vessels. So you get a small benefit from reduced inflammation, then quietly give part of it back through sugar-driven constriction. This is where many people get misled. They feel something at first, so they drink more. But more juice means more sugar, and the balance shifts. The benefit stalls, or even reverses, especially for anyone with insulin resistance or blood sugar concerns. This option isn't bad, and it does have a place, but it works best as short-term support, not as a daily fix for leg circulation. Used carefully, it can help a little. Used casually, it cancels itself out. It comes in at number 8. A small improvement, paired with trade-offs you can't ignore. And next up is a drink that protects circulation in a different way, but still doesn't address the core problem. Number 7. Pomegranate juice. Pomegranate juice has a strong reputation for a reason. It's often associated with heart health, arterial protection, and long-term vascular support. That's why many people turn to it expecting better circulation to naturally follow. What it does best is something very specific. It helps protect nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. Inside blood vessels, it slows oxidative damage, allowing the nitric oxide you already have to last longer and work more efficiently. That distinction matters. This doesn't push the body to make more nitric oxide. It doesn't restart production. It simply preserves what's already there. And after 60, that starting supply is often limited to begin with. There's another factor that complicates things. This juice is highly concentrated. A single glass delivers a significant sugar load, which raises insulin and can temporarily tighten blood vessels. So, while one mechanism helps protect flow, another quietly works against it at the same time. The result is mixed feedback. Some people notice mild improvement. Others feel very little. Many hit a plateau quickly, not because it's ineffective, but because protection without production can only go so far. Practicality plays a role too. High-quality versions are expensive, which often leads to inconsistent use or smaller servings. Circulation doesn't respond well to stop-and-start strategies. This is best used as support, not a driver. It can help preserve gains once circulation improves, but on its own, it rarely changes how the legs feel day to day. And this is where the list begins to turn. The next drink doesn't just protect what remains, it starts nudging nitric oxide production upward, moving circulation into a different category entirely. Number 6. Pure cocoa drink. Cocoa is where things finally start to change, but only if you understand what real cocoa actually means. Many people hear that dark chocolate is good for the heart and assume hot chocolate must help circulation. Most of the time, it doesn't. Pure cocoa works because of flavanols. These compounds stimulate nitric oxide production inside blood vessels. Not aggressively, not dramatically, but measurably. When enough flavanols are present, arteries begin to relax, blood moves more freely, and some people notice warmth returning to their legs within a few hours. The problem is what most people are actually drinking. Nearly everything sold as cocoa has been heavily processed, stripped of flavanols, or loaded with sugar. Packets, mixes, cafe drinks, sweetened powders. They taste good, but they cancel the very effect people are hoping for. Sugar spikes insulin, and insulin tightens blood vessels, wiping out the benefit before it starts. Preparation matters just as much. Cocoa needs to be unsweetened and minimally processed. Once milk, syrups, or heavy sweeteners enter the picture, circulation gains shrink fast. That's why results feel inconsistent. The compound works, but the way it's usually consumed doesn't. There's also a tolerance factor. Cocoa contains mild stimulants. Some people feel pleasantly alert. Others feel jittery or uncomfortable. In sensitive individuals, that limits how often it can be used, which makes consistency harder over time. When done correctly, pure cocoa improves blood flow more than any drink below it on this list. But it still has limits. The nitric oxide boost is moderate, not strong. Helpful, but not decisive. This is the turning point. Cocoa is the first drink that truly nudges circulation in the right direction. But the next ones don't just nudge. They start pushing, using compounds your body converts far more efficiently. Number 5. Watermelon juice. Watermelon juice feels almost too simple to matter. It's light, refreshing. Most people think of it as hydration with a bit of sweetness, not something that changes blood flow. That's exactly why it catches so many people off guard. Watermelon contains L-citrulline, an amino acid your body converts directly into nitric oxide. Not indirectly, not slowly. It feeds straight into the pathway your blood vessels use to relax. When enough L-citrulline is present, arteries begin to open and circulation improves. For many people, the effect is noticeable. Legs feel warmer. The heavy, sluggish sensation eases. Walking feels smoother. Not dramatic, but clearly different. And it often happens within hours, not weeks. But there are limits. The amount of L-citrulline depends heavily on the fruit itself. Ripeness matters. Quantity matters. A few sips won't do much. And outside of peak season, consistent access becomes harder. Sugar is often misunderstood here. Watermelon does contain sugar, but it also has a high water content and a relatively low glycemic load. That means it doesn't spike insulin the way concentrated juices do. Still, portion size matters. More isn't better. Another common mistake is treating it as an occasional fix. Circulation doesn't respond to occasional input. It responds to consistency. Used once in a while, the benefit fades quickly. This earns its place because it feeds the right pathway and produces real, felt improvement. But the delivery isn't consistent, and the dose is hard to control. The next drink solves that problem by delivering nitric oxide signals in a far more reliable and repeatable way. Number 4. Hibiscus tea. Hibiscus tea doesn't get much attention, and that's part of why it works. It isn't trendy. It isn't sold as a circulation cure. Most people drink it for blood pressure and stop there, never realizing what it's actually doing inside their blood vessels. This tea acts directly on the endothelium, the inner lining that controls whether vessels open or resist flow. When that lining becomes stiff or irritated, circulation suffers no matter how strong the heart is. Hibiscus helps the endothelium relax and respond again. Not slowly, not symbolically, functionally. That's why the effects feel different. People notice less cramping, less pressure in the calves, and feet that don't stay ice-cold as long. The change isn't dramatic, but it's steady. And compared to most teas, it shows up sooner. Here's what's happening. Hibiscus lowers vascular tension. As pressure inside the vessel wall drops, blood moves with less resistance. Flow improves without forcing the system, which is why many people describe the effect as smoother and more natural than stimulatory approaches. But this isn't something to use casually. Hibiscus can lower blood pressure noticeably. For anyone already on blood pressure medication, that matters. Used without awareness, it can leave people lightheaded or fatigued instead of better. Strength matters too. Oversteeping doesn't speed results. It just increases side effects and makes people quit before benefits have time to settle in. This earns its place because it reliably improves vessel function without relying on sugar or stimulants. It's affordable, accessible, and works for a wide range of people. But it still doesn't deliver the direct nitric oxide surge the next drinks provide. And that's where circulation begins to shift much more decisively. Number 3. Celery juice. Celery juice is where the chemistry finally gets serious. Many people dismiss it as a fad or a detox thing, and that misunderstanding hides why it works so well for circulation. This one doesn't rely on gentle support. It delivers raw material your body already knows how to use. Celery is rich in natural nitrates. When you drink it, those nitrates don't act in the bloodstream first. They start in the mouth. Bacteria on the tongue convert nitrates into nitrites, and the stomach completes the process, turning them into nitric oxide. That matters because nitric oxide is the exact signal stiff arteries have been missing. When that signal comes back online, changes aren't subtle. Blood vessels relax. Flow increases. Many people notice their legs feel warmer within a few hours. Not stimulated, not jittery, just more alive and responsive. But this drink is unforgiving if used incorrectly. Have it after a meal, and absorption drops. Use mouthwash before or after, and you wipe out the bacteria required for conversion. Do either one, and the effect weakens fast. That's why experiences vary so widely. Practicality is the main downside. The taste is earthy and salty, not pleasant. People use it because it works, not because they enjoy it. And consistency matters. Circulation only responds when the signal shows up regularly. This earns its place because it reliably increases nitric oxide through a pathway the body prefers. The effect is strong and relatively fast. The trade-off is effort, timing, and commitment. If you can manage that, celery juice can meaningfully change how your legs feel. And if you want the same mechanism with more density and control, the next drink takes this idea and pushes it even further. Number 2. Arugula smoothie. Arugula doesn't look impressive. It's peppery, bitter, often pushed to the side of the plate. But when it comes to circulation, it plays in a completely different league. Pound for pound, It's one of the most concentrated natural sources of dietary nitrates you can consume. Those nitrates matter. Just like with celery, your body converts them into nitric oxide. But here's the advantage. Arugula delivers a denser, more reliable nitrate load in a much smaller volume. That means a stronger signal, delivered more consistently when it's used correctly. Blending it into a smoothie changes everything. The taste becomes manageable. Absorption becomes easier. And the effect on leg circulation becomes clearer. Over time, people notice fewer cramps, warmer feet, and better endurance when walking. Not a spike, not a rush, a steady upgrade in function. There's also a visible side to this shift. As circulation improves, skin tone and texture begin to change. Legs look less dull. Mottling fades, swelling eases. These aren't cosmetic effects. They're signs that blood is finally reaching tissue that's been underfed for years. Consistency is the price of entry. Nitrates degrade quickly once blended. Let it sit, and the potency drops. Skip days, and the signal fades. This isn't a casual add-on. It's a daily input if you want sustained change. That's why this lands at number 2. The mechanism is right, the effect is powerful, and the results are real. But it still requires preparation, timing, and discipline. The next drink delivers the same nitric oxide pathway with even greater efficiency and far less friction. Number 1. Beetroot juice. Beetroot juice sits at the top of this list for a simple reason. When circulation truly struggles, this still works. Not because it's trendy, not because it's exotic, but because it delivers the most reliable and bioavailable source of dietary nitrates you can drink. Beets provide a clear, efficient signal your blood vessels respond to immediately. This isn't a gentle nudge, it's a direct instruction. Vessels relax, arteries widen, blood flow increases. For many people, warmth returns to the legs within hours, not days. What separates this from everything else is consistency. The nitrate dose is predictable. The conversion pathway is efficient, and the response isn't fleeting. With regular use, vessel function continues to improve. Walking feels easier. Cramping fades. Endurance builds. Confidence returns. There's solid research behind this effect, showing improvements in blood flow, arterial flexibility, and walking performance in older adults. But most people don't need studies to be convinced. They feel it. Their legs respond in ways they haven't for years. How you use it matters. It works best on an empty stomach, when absorption isn't competing with food. Sweetened versions weaken the signal. Heavy blending or mixing slows the response. Simple works best here. Some people notice pink or red urine. That's harmless and temporary. It isn't blood. A small number of people with a history of kidney stones should be mindful because beets contain oxalates. Awareness is enough. Fear isn't necessary. This earns the number 1 spot because it combines speed, strength, and practicality. It directly targets the core problem behind declining leg circulation, and it does so without stimulants, without sugar overload, and without complicated protocols. If there's one drink that can genuinely change the direction of circulation after 60, this is it. This is where most people get stuck. Not because this is complicated, but because they try to change everything at once. Too many drinks, too many rules, and when that happens, consistency disappears. You don't need all 10. You don't need a perfect routine. You need one habit your body can recognize and respond to. Start simple. 1 drink, 1 time of day. Morning, on an empty stomach. That's when nitrate-based drinks work best. If you want the strongest option, beetroot juice is number 1. If you tolerate celery juice or an arugula smoothie better, start there instead. Use the same one every morning for at least 2 weeks before you change anything. That single habit is your foundation. It sets the tone for blood flow all day. Most people feel early signs first: warmth, ease, less heaviness. Structural improvement comes later. Don't rush it. If you choose to add more, keep it optional. One afternoon booster at most. Hibiscus tea or watermelon juice in season works well. This isn't about stacking. It's about reinforcing the signal without overwhelming your system. Avoid the small mistakes that quietly cancel progress. Don't use mouthwash around nitrate-rich drinks. Don't mix them with meals. Give your body time to absorb and respond. And most importantly, don't quit too early. Many people stop right as circulation is starting to change. Give it time. Biology works in layers. This isn't a cleanse. It isn't a challenge. It's a simple daily habit. Small, repeatable actions done consistently change circulation far more than intense efforts done briefly. If this helped you understand your legs better, let me know in the comments which drink you're starting with tomorrow. Your experience could help someone else take the first step too. And if you want more clear, practical guidance like this, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next.